good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, podcast fans of all ages. Thank you for joining us on the Political Deep Dive. I'm Dave Valente, joined as always by Dan the Man Fishman. How are you doing, Dan?
I'm doing just peachy. What's
peachy.
up, everybody?
Hey.
Peachy and keen.
Ooh, both. Yeah, both cans. And joining us from Denver, AJ.
How is everybody doing?
Doing good.
I am ready to talk. What's up, Ken? What's up? What's up, Tom?
Tom, Ken, thanks for joining us tonight. Tonight we're going to be talking music, our favorite artists, one-hit wonders, maybe a song that we hate, can't stand. But we can jump right into it, or we can banter a little bit. But let's just jump into it. Let's talk about music's impact on our culture, because music is not just something for you to listen to while you're working, or something to listen to while you're go to concerts and things like that. There's a good cultural vibe to music.
One of the things that I think about a lot is that the cultural impact of music has changed so dramatically. I'm coming for you, Tom. Boston's an awesome band, but
album.
Like I was thinking about this the other day. I was watching American Idol, and this is maybe 10 years ago, but I was thinking about how all these people represent what America has become, sort of this vacuous, candy coated, nice stuff. But if you think about what who the American Idols were, especially the American Idols musically in the 60s, they represented revolution, right? Bob Dylan, Joan Baez, Mamas and Papas. And they sang about real political issues. None of that stuff happens anymore. I mean, with the exception of Toby Keith, brought you courtesy of the red, white, and blue. But
they're independent artists on Instagram. Tom Wells is a good one. He has a Guthrie Dylan feel to him, but he looks like John Fogerty, so it throws you off. I've shared a lot of his stuff on my profile, a lot of his stuff.
One of my top five, one of my top five artists definitely do have a lot of political music. Again, they're not super well known, but they're political. They've got.
And I guess Rage Against the Machine, who's in my list.
Sure,
they were pretty political.
And there's another band that I have in my list is that they're one of their hits that they had in the early 90s, I guess, mid to early 90s, was really a take on of MTV's culture at the time, and which is probably why they didn't have much of a career, like a popular TV career afterwards, but they still make music. So
yeah. Craig, I love Garbage too.
Garbage is good.
Heaven is Wide. That's one of my favorite songs.
I saw I Ran by Flock of Seagulls.
Flock of Seagulls.
Love that song. Everything about that song, the video.
But what's
everything.
It's not about Iran.
It's about I ran.
Yes, exactly.
I ran so far away.
It is far away. That's what was deceiving about it.
No. Was it Steve? Steve.
I walk along the Boulevard Avenue.
Who was it that did the Bomb I Ran song to Barbara Ann?
I don't know.
Back in the late 70s, early 80s.
All right, give us somebody from your list, Dave.
All right,
you're one.
I'm going in reverse order. So I have top 5 list, and this is not a well-known artist, but we did play this song last year for our Christmas episode. It's a band called Gangsta Grass, and Gangsta Grass is a Philadelphia-based band that it's a mix of rap and bluegrass. And it is phenomenal. It's great stuff. If you've heard of them, if you watched the show Justified, it was the theme song to that show. They've done and these guys do some political stuff. Their Nickel and Dime Blues talks about the struggles of being poor. You Can't Go Home Again. That's a song about the incarceration system and how it keeps people in the incarceration system. So a political band that mixes together, it's white bluegrass musicians and two African American rappers that really just, well, and then it was the African American fiddle player as well, that really just meld together so well. And it's really, if you're working out or working doing some work, it's good music to bop your head to and feel
nice.
Good. So Gangster Grass, Philadelphia-based band, check them out. A lot of fun.
All right. Well, I will go with the one that I sort of teed a little bit already. Rage Against the Machine, Killing in the Name of. And first of all, right, it is without question the most libertarian song ever written, because it contains the line, "Fuck you, I won't do what you told me. Fuck you, I won't do what you told me." Right? I mean, it's fantastic. Then, I mean, that bass line, the dropping, boom, 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 boom. I mean, it is awesome. You see the video, it's just the passion of it. It's just a great song. Yeah. Now, one of the things we'll talk about here is that, I could not disagree with those guys more politically, right? They are,
well, I look at them as kind of Bernie Sanders-esque.
Exactly. That's exactly where they are.
And for me, when it comes to Bernie Sanders and people who kind of believe in that, it's like we all see the same problems.
Right.
We just have they have really shitty ways to deal with those problems.
And it's funny because that's where we are, right?
Good list.
From all of this libertarian, Tom Rush is definitely up there. Trees and other things, Strangiato, stuff like that. I like Rush. I can't disagree. It just had a top five for me. But Kamala Harris had this thing where she announced today where, she wants to or yesterday, they want to put price controls on groceries and all these other things that, that's the Bernie Sanders sort of thing, the progressive agenda. But it is it's a terrible idea. Anybody who really knows anything about economics knows, well, that's just going to completely fail. But it's popular, and a lot of people like the idea. Oh yeah, I wish my grocery prices were less. Everybody wishes grocery prices were less, or
that's
housing
not the way
costs,
to deal
right?
Well, they want to do the way to do it. Yeah,
exactly. Right. I mean, this is the one that kills me. Is there's this argument sort of raging across Facebook and Twitter about how to solve the housing crisis, and so few people understand the housing crisis could be solved today by eliminating zoning, and people don't realize how much it is. Try calling your local city council or your local town hall and say, "Hey, I want to build 2 tiny houses on my property and rent them out." Forget it. You can't do it, even though that would make an enormous difference in the market.
And there's also issues with, the houses that are available in the market have been bought up in large numbers and have artificially
but
screwed up the market.
That is completely related to zoning. Like if you told me I could build a house and a big corporation would buy it up immediately, of course I would build a house.
Sure.
The problem is that it's so hard to build. The reason they're buying up the houses is because they're artificially valued because of the market.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there are many facets to this. I don't think any of their solutions are going to work.
No, I agree.
I mean, the $25,000
home credit,
the down payment credit that they're proposing is simply just going to be passed on. It's going to be built into the price of these homes, which sucks. It just,
right.
You got a $25,000 bump on the price of the house means you're going to have a larger down payment to qualify for certain loans.
It's exactly. No more than that, it's going to take you longer to pay off the loan. So the banks get richer. Democrats passed legislation that makes banks richer.
No, that's.
I mean, the only people who are worse than them on that are the Republicans. AJ, who's your song?
So I spent the day cleaning the house, and in order to clean the house, I have to play music. So I noticed that the songs that I was like the most were like when I was a kid, because my top 5, it's really basic chick. I feel like it's not interesting at all. But the songs that I have known the longest, Three Dog Night. Mama
Nice.
told me not to come. That song, I've known that for as long as I can remember. I was listening to y'all, and you have like these huge reasons. I don't know. There is something about Three Dog Night, and then they performed at a festival in McMinnville. The famous person from McMinnville is named Dottie West, and that was my aunt. And we got to go to the festival and all that, and Three Dog Night performed. So I got to hear that song live.
Wow.
As well as I've known it my entire life. So
I've seen them live too. Yeah, I saw them live too back in 1990. I want to say 93 in Albuquerque, New Mexico. They played with America. So I saw them.
Sister Golden Hair.
Yeah, Sister Golden Hair Surprise. Yeah.
Mm.
Good music.
A couple of years really and truly, because I was like, I don't know, 11, 12. So
yep.
That sounds right.
That is a good list. Three Dog Night, one of those classic bands. You know, just a groove.
In a band together. That's how they met. My dad was a drummer. My mom was a singer. My uncle played guitar. They played music together. So
Family
I've
band.
done everywhere my entire life, between Aunt Dottie and Shelly and Mom and Dad and Uncle Bud. My granny played guitar. My grandfather played the guitar and the fiddle, not the violin. I mean, I've always been surrounded by music. I have a notebook in there that it's full of handwritten lyrics to songs.
Nice.
For my granny and my mom.
Yeah.
So it's just been, your entire life. And no, I think it started with Three Dog Night. Me and Mama just singing in the car.
Cool.
Nice.
Cool. All right. Number 4 for me is Hook by Blues Traveler.
Great song.
Absolutely revolutionary song, because a lot of people, you hear it and it's kind of poppy. It actually calls out a lot of the stuff that MTV was doing back in the day, that favoring these 3-minute songs and formulaic, and a lot of their big hit, which was Runaround. That one was kind of a FU to MTV as well, because they it took them a long time to get big commercial airplay, because John Popper's a big dude, and they didn't have that traditional look of overcoiffed stars that dance and perform on the stage. So Runaround was kind of like a take on the Wizard of Oz, that they had this kind of grungy looking band dancing up and doing their stuff on stage, and behind the magic curtain was actually the Blues Traveler, and Toto pulls the curtain back and reveals the actual band. But Hook is actually set to the music of Canon and D. So if you hear the song, you're like, you recognize that song. Everything about it is about the music industry. The hook brings you back. The hook is the main part of the song that everyone remembers. And
on that you can rely.
Yeah, and then at the end of the song, he goes on this terrific rant about MTV and how we're just being programmed to just accept what MTV throws on us. And really, I do think that song ended up kind of ruining the mainstream career of Blues Travel. Now they've continued to tour. They still tour. They do. They've done kind of re-releases of their albums and their big hit songs. They're also doing kind of takes on other music, doing some covers, like they did a Delight, Groove is in the Heart. So, Blues Traveler is still doing it.
Yeah.
And then one of the bands that if I see that they're coming within a certain distance of me, I'm going to go see them because they put on a phenomenal show. I've seen them probably 6 or 7 times at least. They just put on a great show, very entertaining. They're a jam band. They founded the Horde Tour, which is one of the big '90s touring acts, and working a lot with like the Grateful Dead and Fish and other bands like that. They put on these long, great concerts, and they're kind of like the with Fish, kind of with coming to the end of that genre, that jam band genre.
I always like Blues Traveler, especially because John Popper, born in 1967, the same as me.
There you go.
So that's a generation that I definitely identify with. That huge back catalog that a working band too, because they really had to work before they made it.
Oh yeah.
And so everything about Blues Traveler is great. Especially including the music. So I'm going to go even more mainstream for my second, and I'm going to pick an artist, but it's a cover of a song. Eric Clapton's "Crossroads," which is a cover of help me out here, people in my senility. Robert Johnson wrote the original. Man, that is just a groove. And so I used to be in a rock band in Austin, and there is something about being on stage. And I was a singer. You know what? Singers, you just do your thing. You get up there and sing. Thank you, Tom. But there's something about just delivering a blistering performance on the guitar and the way that people are just in awe of it. And so I love just a great lead guitar, and Eric Clapton on Crossroads. So identifiable, iconic. Yeah. And so that's just on my list. Great song. The only thing that I don't like about it, and I actually have recanted this a little bit, is that, then they made that movie called Crossroads with Ralph Macchio and what's her name?
It was technically Cream.
Tom's right. Yeah,
I knew there was going to be somebody that was going to be technically. I love the dependability of that word on this podcast.
Well, what's interesting is that he did pay it for years. But he did play it for years too after he left Cream. There is, but yeah, the Ralph Macchio Crossroads movie, that was the one thing that I didn't like about it. But speaking of incredible virtuosos, Steve Vai's performance in that is unbelievable as well. A great guitar player, but he doesn't have any songs that I think are just amazing. Although if I were to go with a one-hit wonder, maybe I'd go back to Yankee Rose. David Lee Roth didn't really have any big hits solo, but
Just a
song,
Gigolo.
Yankee Rose, is pretty awesome.
Just a Gigolo was probably his.
Just a Gigolo is pretty big too. Yeah,
biggest hit, I think, on a solo.
Man. Yankee Rose was huge though. They're on the same album, so it's hard to compare.
I mean, how many albums did David Lee Roth?
I think just the one.
Yeah. All right, AJ, what you got for number 4?
I think for number 4, we're going to jump ahead to my teenage years, and my friend Barbara spent a summer with her hippie brother-in-law, and came back with the Grateful Dead.
Oh,
and
nice.
I was 15, I think, and by the time that I was, I don't know, driving, that was the soundtrack was the Grateful Dead. So Casey Jones was always a good one. Sugar Magnolia was actually my theme song on a radio show years ago.
Yep.
It was called Nashville the Nightline. That was my theme music for when I would be coming on air. Let's see. I mean, who doesn't like trucking?
Yeah.
But I think probably Addicts of My Life, maybe, would be the one that touches me the most, because it's talking about, looking back and this is what has been, and this is what there is. There's a certain humility to it that is quite nice to hear.
That's pretty amazing. I have a connection with the Grateful Dead. Bob Weir went to my high school in Colorado, and he came back for alumni weekend for his 50th, and got up on stage and just ripped it up. It's awesome.
That's cool.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Cool dude.
All right. Top three now. Let's number three, probably one of the baddest songs I've ever heard. Texas Flood by Stevie Ray Vaughan and Double Trouble.
Woo!
Lord, he tore that shit up.
Yeah, again, you talk about just delivering a blistering performance on the guitar. And it's just, oh my God.
The fact that, he went to the Montreux Jazz Festival. Now, this is a jazz festival.
Yeah.
And go listen to that concert. It's phenomenal. Actually was getting, Montreux, he's getting whistled at the beginning of the show because, he's an American with, big cowboy hat, or not cowboy hat, but with the Mexican style hat. That
he's a Texan. He's a Texan.
He's a Texan. He's a brash Texan. And he gets up on stage. And again, this is a jazz festival. He's a blues musician. And he tore that stage up. Everything about him was just phenomenal. It's one of the great tragedies of music that he died in a helicopter accident in Alpine, Wisconsin. I'm surprised at the end of his show that his guitar didn't actually just physically catch on fire. Like that's how, he got so many notes out of his guitar.
He had these giant hands, right?
Yeah,
he would wrap his hand around the guitar and it look like this. Yeah. Right. It was just, he could play everything and just amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree with that call. I like Scuttlebutton too. Just because it's just a phenomenal thing.
Tin Pan Alley.
Yep. Everything about it. All right, so now I got a trivia question for you. What band does his brother play in?
Fabulous Thunderbirds.
Nice. Nice job.
Jimmy Vaughn. Yeah, that's a Wrap It Up. That was a great song.
Another great band. Folks in New England could see them all the time. They played around. And then Jimmy Vaughn founded another band called Roomful of Blues, which they're also a New England sort of band. And so you could see them playing there like in small little venues. Awesome. All right. So for me, my number three, I'm going to change genres a little bit. And I tell you what, I'm going to veto the song that I said earlier. We were talking about this before, and I was going to say Brad Paisley's Waiting on a Woman, which is, it's an amazing song. But I got to go with the woman that I consider to be one of the greatest American songwriters of all time, Dolly Parton. Her back catalog is so insane. These amazing songs. And everything you want, right? From 9 to 5, like a catchy jingle, stuff like that. Or Jolene, this heartbreak torch song. But the one that, really reaches out to me is Coat of Many Colors. And it's an old song, which talks about how, somebody gave them, because they're poor, somebody gave them a bag of rags and her mom sewed it into a coat and, told her the story of Joseph in the Bible and stuff like that. And then she wears it to school and all the kids laugh at her, but she's just so proud of her coat of many colors. And that's everything about country music, right? It's the perfect song. She's got a little bit of mystery about her. There's this weird thing with her first mentor / boyfriend, whoever, Porter Wagner. And, if you're interested in reading some weird stuff, there's stuff out there to read. But, Dolly, just a body of work and, a philanthropist, couldn't care more for her fellow man. She's just wonderful. So I'm going to go with Dolly Parton's Coat of Many Colors for my third song.
Dolly is a beautiful person, and whatever that kind of controversy about her, and people are like, we're going to cancel Dolly. I'm like, no,
Yeah.
you're not.
No, you're not. No, you're not.
Yeah.
But Dolly's beloved. She could take a dump on a child's head, and I think would be fine.
Yeah.
We are getting some great comments
she's
here.
Yeah.
Tom's dropping some good stuff, talking about Stevie Ray Vaughan. And some good songs have been brought up. I appreciate all the comments. Please continue to share the comments because there are some great comments.
I do want to shout out, Ken, I was just listening to Lita Ford's Kiss Me Deadly. Ooh. And that is a great song.
That is a good one.
And of course, Lita Ford, this unbelievable rock and roll heritage too, in that she's in the Runaways with Joan Jett and what's her name? The lead singer, Sherry. I can't think of her name right now. Tom will know. Tom is, although older than me, less senile in terms of music. And that's a great band. Lita Ford, another one of those sort of blistering guitar players who really did so much. Cyndi Lauper, great songwriter too.
Yeah.
I lost track of where we are.
We are at AJ's giving her third.
Okay.
Well, it is a song that has been covered from everybody. It's been covered by the Grateful Dead. It's been covered by, I don't know, every man and woman the last 30, 40 years maybe. It was written by Chris Christopherson. The version that is my favorite was sung by Janis Joplin.
Bobby McGee. That's a great song.
Nice. Very nice.
That was the song that I sang Colin to sleep with for like 3 years. That was his song.
Yeah.
He was upset at daycare, and he's screaming, and he's freaking out. And they're like, we don't know what to do. And I'm like, what is he saying? And they're like, busted flat. I'm like, busted flat in Baton Rouge. You need to sing Bobby McGee. You'll be fine if you can sing Bobby McGee. Girl was like, I don't know. And I was like, YouTube it. It'll be fine. I've got to work. He just wants you to sing the song. That's how important that song was.
It's so interesting too. Written by Chris Christopherson. I think the first big hit was Roger Miller's version of it.
I think so.
And both of them, like people think of it, right. The Janis Joplin version is sort of the definitive version.
Yeah.
But in the original, Bobby McGee is a girl.
Yeah.
And it's just, that song has got so much in it, so much feeling. Mm-hmm. It's amazing.
Janis Joplin could take anything. She could read a phone book and just belt the hell out of it. She's just phenomenal. Chris Christopherson, pretty much all the outlaw country guys. For me, I think one of my honorable mention musicians is Sturgill Simpson. To me, he's kind of like the natural for outlaw country and that type of that genre of music. I think Sturgill Simpson now is the guy that carries the torch for it. If you haven't heard Sturgill Simpson, check it out. You can have the crown. Is a great song. Turtles all the way down, all the way. But and he did I'll Reel My one hit wonder that I absolutely love is one of his covers. So,
Craig's mentioned the Traveling Wilburys, this unbelievable super group.
Oh yeah.
It's interesting too. They deliberately limited the release of their first album. Like if you look around and try to buy that album nowadays, not that anybody would buy an album, but either
albums are coming back though.
Sort of. But I mean, I don't know if they've re-released it, but when it first came out, it was really hard to get a copy of the CD. Like if you look on eBay, the CD was very expensive. Now, with streaming, obviously, you can get access to everything you want. But it's Yeah, Sherry Curry. Thank you, Carol. And anyway, that movie, by the way, The Runaways, is a great movie to watch.
Yeah. Great choice. Let's go to my top two. This is a band probably not a lot of you have heard of. Again, my general genre of music is something along the lines of Americana, bluegrass, acoustic music. That's kind of where I'm at when my go-tos. It is a song called "Running Red" by a band. They used to be called Mandolin Orange. Now they're called Watch House. It's a duo, married duo that are out of North Carolina. They are phenomenal. The music is they're very political. This is one of the political bands I talked about. They've done a song called Gospel Shoes, which is kind of like when they wrote it about guys like Ted Cruz and folks like that. There's a song called Wildfire, which talks about the lead singer is from a town called Warrenton in North Carolina. And the town is named after Joseph Warren, a Revolutionary War doctor that led the first battle at Bunker Hill and was killed during the battle. Was supposed to be he could have given up his, and run, but he decided to stay and fight. There's a rumor that he actually slept with the military commander of Boston's wife at the time. So, maybe that's why he decided to stay. But the whole song is about how, giving up hate after that, because, we were blessed with the idea of liberty, that we should have granted liberty to everybody. And of course, we know what happens after the Civil War, or after the Revolutionary War, Three-Fifths Compromise, slavery, all that stuff, and how the wildfire kept burning all the way through the Civil War, the Civil Rights era, and now today with continued fighting over just dumbass race issues. So definitely listen to Watch House, but the song "Running Red" is it's a very sad song about a relationship that is falling apart, and it's pleading about I'm here, I'm reaching over to you, will you reach back to me, and our bridge is falling, would you let our love left to die. It's a very just moving song, and there's not really live performance. It's not like before a live studio audience, but there's one that they filmed inside of a old abandoned warehouse at Chatham Mills in North Carolina. That is just, you hear the echoes of an empty warehouse in the music that they're making, and it's phenomenal. So definitely check that one out. Again, "Running Red" by Watch House.
All right, good list. We're up to number 2.
Yeah.
I'm going a little more obscure here, and not an obscure artist. The artist is Bruce Springsteen. I think everybody knows really well. The album is Nebraska, which I don't think that a lot of people know that well. And there's a song on there called "Highway Patrolman" that is just amazing, and it's got these amazing lyrics to them. And I'm just going to read a little bit of it. Am I muted?
No, I said hi, JS. Janice just joined us.
Let's see if I can find this thing. So it says, Frankie went in the Army back in 1965. I got a farm deferment, took Maria for my wife, but then wheat prices kept on dropping until it was like we were getting robbed. Frankie came home in 68, and me, I took this job. Just beautiful heartland stuff. And then the chorus is laughing and drinking, nothing feels better than blood on blood. Taking turns dancing with Maria as the band plays Night of the Johnstown Flood. That song, boy, it's just, go out there and put it on your list.
All right.
Highway Patrolman, Bruce Springsteen. The whole album is amazing, but in many ways, it's just it's a phenomenal song. So all I can do is just ask everybody to go out and listen to it.
I have to admit, I'm not a big fan of Bruce Springsteen.
So, but you probably don't know his early stuff at all.
No,
right?
I mean I've listened to a bit of it because usually when I get kind of a reaction to a band like I think 1984 time frame when Born in
Sure,
the
Born in the
USA got
USA.
way overplayed, and I
But
think I
what's
kind of had a
interesting about
visceral
that
reaction to that, and then
but that's exactly what I'm saying. 1984, the Born in the USA is this hugely controversial album. Yeah, John Prine's amazing, Tom. I agree,
yeah, John
100%.
Prine's
Um, but a lot of Bruce Springsteen's fans did not like 1980 or Born in the USA. They're like,
no, and it was misunderstood. It was so misunderstood too.
Not only misunderstood, but also it's just a departure from his style of music.
Sure.
But like Welcome to Asbury Park, the first album, the two big songs covered by Manfred Mann, Blinded by the Light, and the other one. Wow, I'm Joe Biden today.
He has a song called Secret Garden that was on the Jerry Maguire soundtrack that I love.
Yep. That's definitely a later song, but a return to the songwriting that he did in the beginning.
So sweet. It's just it's so heartfelt.
He's amazing.
You wouldn't expect it necessarily with that voice to be as vulnerable as he is in that song.
Yep. And he's another guy who's just just a hardcore working musician. He started off, they played they were Chuck Berry's backing band. They were like just playing the state fairs and stuff in New Jersey, and they got this option to be Chuck Berry's backing band. And he tells this great story about it. If you have HBO, Howard Stern did a 2.5-hour interview with Bruce Springsteen with a guitar, and Bruce plays a little bit and sings a little bit, and just an amazing guy. Seen so much, really talks a lot about sort of his life, periods of depression, things like that. It's just amazing. So I can't recommend it enough. And that's another guy with just a huge back catalog. And, that's such an important thing to talk about, too, is that there are so few musicians who produce more than 3 significant albums. There's so few musicians who produce more than 1. When a guy or person, human being, has made so much music, there's stuff there for everybody. So that's my number 2 is Bruce Springsteen.
All right, AJ, what you got?
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
That's fine.
My earbuds died, so we'll see how this goes. I'm not really going with, I guess, my favorites. I guess I'm going with whatever mood I'm in tonight. So, I don't know, retrograde and a full moon coming up. There was a Mel Gibson movie back in my teen years, so like in the 90s. It's like Man Without a Face or some shit.
Oh, yeah. Man Without a Face, yeah.
And I don't remember much more of the movie than he played Billie Holiday. Like there was a Billie Holiday song that played twice, I think actually during the movie, and then again at the end of the song. Now we went to the theater to see this movie, and for whatever reason we were staying through the credits. So I heard the entirety of it and I was like, oh. So being a child of the 90s, of course I signed up for, what is it? Oh shit, Columbia House.
Are they still after you?
Ever for like 19 cents, man. It's going to be awesome. So a lot of that was, I ordered Billie Holiday. I also ordered Bob Marley at the same time, but Billie Holiday is who we're talking about. And the song that I want to highlight of hers has been covered by many, of course, but it's Strange Fruit. And if you haven't heard it, you should listen to it and see if it causes goosebumps, because I've heard it a million times and it still just breaks your heart. Just her voice and the way that she is crying as she is singing this, because what a terrible thing to exist. What a terrible thing to have to write a song about. She got in so much trouble for singing that song. She got in so much trouble for singing the truth about the treatment of Black people.
Yeah.
So if you don't know much about Billie Holiday, look her up.
Yeah, you should definitely listen to Billie Holiday. She's amazing. All right. My top artist, my top song.
Number one with a bullet.
Number one with a bullet. This band, I was just listening to. Every once in a while, I'll catch something on the radio, and I'm doing something. I just have to stop and focus on what did I just hear? Like this band was that band for me. It's a group called Nickel Creek. Again, it's a bluegrass band, or really back when they came out, they were called a youth grass band. It was four very young musicians, just I think barely in their 18, 19 age area. Their first self-titled album, they had a song called Sweet Afton. And it's actually a poem by Robert Frost that they set to music. And the funny thing about this song is they didn't realize it was a song about death. Sweet Afton is about a guy that is sending the body of his wife down the Afton River in I guess Ireland, and talking about how the flow gently, sweet Afton, among the green brae, and the wife's body would eventually go away and be taken amongst the currents and all that stuff. But it's an absolutely beautiful song. But the moment that stopped me is there's a point towards the end of the song where all three of them get into a harmony. How pleasant thy banks and green valleys below. And when they sing it, every time I hear it, I'm just blown away. Like the way that their voices work together and the way that it just resonates it blows me away. And I at that point, I became obsessed to find out everything about that band. I've gone to see them in concert probably at least a dozen times. All three musicians, Chris Thiele, Sarah, and Sean Watkins, are phenomenal in their own right. Chris Thiele is also, he's done solo work. If the show, the Sunday show that took over for Garrison Keillor, is called Live from Here instead of the Lake Wobegon show that Garrison Keillor used to do. But Live from Here is hosted by Chris Thiele. Very eccentric guy, but he's also with a band called Punch Brothers that does a lot of great music. Sarah Watkins also does her side projects. Sean Watkins does their side projects, but they, they'll take a break every once in a while. They had this last album came like 6 or so years. It was interrupted by COVID. A lot of the music is related to the COVID pandemic and how we had to live with one another and deal with each other during the COVID pandemic. It's a really great album. But there was a 10-year gap between the album before that and Why Should the Fire Die, which came out about 6 or 7 years ago. But every time they get together, it's just magic on the stage. If you get a chance to go see Nickel Creek, they're one of the few bands that still is rather affordable to go see. That has been, they've won Grammys, they've been a massive act, but they still are not gouging you for ticket prices. They're touring with somebody right now that the ticket prices are not set. They're actually I can't remember who they're touring with, but they're the main act, and they're setting the prices through Ticketmaster. Nickel Creek tends to go away from Ticketmaster.
That has been one of the great things about living here as opposed to living in Boston, is that there's a venue around the corner. Well, you probably know it, the Wolf Trap.
Oh yeah,
right? So cheap. I can't get over, big names. Now, granted, big names from my youth, so not necessarily big names anymore, but it's a pretty small venue. It's a great place to see a show. I've been really happy about that, as opposed to, paying big city prices beforehand when I lived up east. So to get to my number one, I have so many people that I had to leave out. Like Squeeze would be high on my list.
Oh, we lost AJ. Oh,
She'll be back.
Yeah, she'll be back.
Squeeze would be high on my list. Pink Floyd is high on my list. In fact, I had originally said that I was going to do Pink Floyd, but I had to think about the people that I've been listening to the most. And because of his appearance on the English Voice as a judge, or the British version of The Voice, I've been listening to a lot of Tom Jones. And, Tom Jones is kind of a joke to me musically in my 20s, right? He did the Carlton song. Do, 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 do.
Yeah.
The Not Unusual.
Yeah,
and then, all these other things about it. But holy crap, that man can sing. Just an unbelievable voice. And I would implore everybody to look for a song that he recorded recently called I Won't Crumble. And interestingly enough, he just sang it in June at the D-Day anniversary. The what are we at? 60 years since D-Day?
Oh no.
80 years since D-Day? Yeah, 80 years since D-Day. So he just sang it at the 80-year thing at D-Day. It's amazing. But the best version of it is the one where he's on The Voice and he sort of sings it impromptu. And it's amazing. He talks about it. And he talks about the fact that, the song's called I Won't Crumble With You If You Fall. And he's like, there's a scenario with my wife where she got lung cancer and she was dying. And, throughout our relationship, I could always fix things for her. If it was in the house or, a problem with one of the pets or anything like that. And this thing, I tried to do all these things. And she's like, you can't fix this. He's like, but I need you to tell me, because the thing that will allow me to go peacefully is to know that you won't break, that me leaving doesn't break you. So you have to tell me that. And so this song, I Won't Crumble With You If You Fall, is just, it's about that. And it is so pure and so passionate. Please, everybody should get in there. I'm going to come back to the Tina Turner thing. Yeah, I do. Yeah, and I did know Tom was going to bring up Tedeschi Trucks.
Yeah.
Sue Tedeschi, from Boston, from Massachusetts. Great band. But also Tina Turner. Tina did an album with the Wall of Sound producer, the guy who killed those people. God, that really is senile. It's Alzheimer's. But River Deep Mountain High is the name of the album. And boy, that whole album is unbelievable. It's fantastic. And it's the first album that she did that Ike didn't produce.
Phil Spector.
Yeah, Phil Spector, right. Because he did the Beatles album as well.
Yeah.
And it was just, it's amazing. That whole album is worth listening to. But my number one is going to be Tom Jones, and I Won't Crumble. And check it out on YouTube.
We'll definitely have to do that.
So AJ told me that her number one song was the Rick Rolling song.
Never Gonna Give You Up by Rick Astley.
Exactly.
Yeah. Nice.
So
Don't Worry, Be Happy by Bobby McFerrin.
So I will tell you, I have seen Bobby McFerrin in concert many times. That is a great live show to go to. And it's interesting because that's a guy who's in many ways. So my one-hit wonder, I don't know who your one-hit wonder is. We're going to get to that. My one-hit wonder is a guy named Jonathan Richman, who, I don't know if you're familiar with him. Mostly people know him because he's the musician in There's Something About Mary. And that's his song that he wrote. But he actually is another guy who just has a huge following, New York City to Boston and all points in between. That guy is just, his career has been playing in bars in those places. and huge back catalog. I'm calling him a one-hit wonder because Something About Mary is the only thing that really got airplay. But I Was Dancing in the Lesbian Bar is a fantastic song. Vampire Girl. AJ's, I don't know where AJ went, but I actually sang Vampire Girl for karaoke at the Tennessee convention with AJ.
Nice.
Yeah, it was good stuff. Tell us who your one-hit wonder is, Dave.
You know, it's hard to actually do just one.
Yeah.
Well, I alluded to it before. Sturgill Simpson did a version of the song, but it's "The Promise" by When in Rome.
Yeah, it's a great song.
That's a phenomenal song. The other song that I would call out is a fantastic one-hit wonder, and I think a lot of people treat it as a joke. It's that tee-hee about the the subject matter, but "Afternoon Delight" by Starland Vocal Band was actually a really phenomenal song. It got overplayed, yes, but I think it was a really well-produced, well done song.
Interesting.
Rock Me Amadeus. Oh my God.
A great song. Great song. It is, I wish I could do it justice, but unter der Superstar und Captain Kirk. That was a great song.
That was a fantastic song.
But actually, Falco does have one other hit. I can't remember the name of it. But there's something else out there. But so, Tom, I can't click the link because I guess it's probably in the Papa Duke chat, right? I'll find it. Yeah. I'll find it, Tom, and I'll go back to that chat and I'll put all these links in there. Yep. The other interesting thing about there are some one hit wonders that are like so huge, like Nina 99 Loose Balloons. Oh, and that's actually where the Captain Kirk is line from. Everyone's a Captain Kirk. But Tub Thumping by Chubbawamba. I get knocked down, but I get up again. I mean, just all the words to it.
Yeah.
Drinks a cider drink, he drinks a lager drink. That's sort of my definition of like a great one-hit wonder, is that all of the songs.
Yeah. Let's see.
I will hunt that down, Tom.
All right. What is a song that you absolutely hate? Like it comes on, you just go.
Interesting. Like, there's not a lot of songs that I hate, but I'll tell you what I do hate is a bad cover of a good song. And there are a few that I just think didn't need to be made. On the other hand, I was listening to the Disturbed's cover of Sounds of Silence, and that is fantastic. I mean, it's so good. And you see a lot of these great songwriters, people remaking their stuff now.
Anything by Kid Rock.
But Kid Rock, I mean, put his politics aside, right? I mean, the whole hockey thing. How many other people mentioned Steve Eiserman in a song, right? You can drink about 15 Heinekens. I Kid Rock stuff. I mean, I find a lot of his good stuff catchy. I don't know. I guess I don't like. That's crazy. That's not true. Nobody hates Journey.
Ted Nugent. Now that's an interesting one because I think. Oh God, what is the name of that song? The
Cat Scratch Fever.
No. The bass
Stranglehold.
line, Stranglehold.
Yeah.
That bass line.
That's a great song.
Sizzling. Although the subject matter of that song, absolutely canceled today. Because they're talking about beating somebody in the face, a woman in the face.
Right.
So, yeah.
But I do think that I mean, it's hard to say because I can't think of any people that I really don't like. Oh, you know who I don't like? I didn't like Kesha with a dollar sign.
K dollar sign ha.
Yeah. Like she had this one song. I can't even remember what it was. Is she the one who did Fancy? I'm so fancy.
No, that was
You don't even know.
Was that Fergie?
In the fast lane from LA to Tokyo.
Yeah, I mean,
was it Fancy?
That was it. That was an annoying song.
It was Iggy Azalea.
Iggy Azalea.
Yeah, she actually says her name in the song, so I don't know how we got it wrong. IGGY.
Oh, that's true. Huh.
But actually, Fancy by Reba McEntire covered it. But who's the woman who did the original version of it? Same woman who did Me and Bobby McGee. Not Me and Bobby McGee. Billy Joe McAllister jumped off the Tallahatchie Bridge.
Yeah.
Cole Roberta. Can I think of it before you look it up?
Consult the interwebs.
Bobby Gentry. I was getting confused with Bobby McGee, but Bobby Gentry.
Yep.
Yeah, Sarah McLachlan has a couple of great songs that I like. But I think that no, you can't really call those people one-hit wonders either. And then, the thing is, like, I do like some novelty songs. Like, there's some Weird Al Yankovic songs that I think are better than the originals.
Oh yeah,
by a great deal.
Weird Al is I mean, for building a career like that.
Yeah, I still haven't seen the movie.
I haven't either. But Weird Al is, one of my favorite. And there are a lot of songs that he did that I like a lot better than the original ones. So,
it's interesting because
his polka ones the polka mashups.
The polkas are fantastic.
Oh my god!
The one thing that Roberta Flack, "Killing Me Softly," that's a great song. But like his version of
Fuji's version was pretty good.
First Yoda, based on Lola.
Yeah.
But then Anakin Guy, based on American Pie. That was so good. Bye bye, Mr. Anakin Guy. Maybe Vader someday later, but now he's just a small fry. This is a great
He did one to Stuck in a Closet. It was like Stuck in a Drive-Thru or something like that. It was hilarious. It's kind of like, that traditional couples fight about what to eat for dinner.
Yep.
And beautiful song, great song. That, and he actually got in trouble for doing the remake of Gangster's Paradise,
right,
the Amish Paradise, which was phenomenal.
But then, as it turns out, there may have been some confusion around that.
Yeah, there was.
Yeah,
I remember hearing the story that he thought that he got permission. They were doing Saturday Night Live together, or he was there for Saturday Night Live, and he thought he got permission, or there was maybe an award show or something like that. They were in New York together.
Yeah,
he thought he got permission from Coolio to do the song. Coolio says he didn't give him the permission, and there was beef.
Yeah, which is silly.
Yep.
And because obviously Weird Al's version, I think exactly like.
I lost on Jeopardy. That was
studying for the very first time. Right, I lost on Jeopardy.
I lost on Jeopardy. The Greg Kinn song, Jeopardy, was just wonderful.
They're all so good, just great pieces of work, and the the couple other novelty guys out there. I'm going to go way back and talk about Alan Sherman, who "Hello Mudda," "Hello Fada," songs like that. Those are like hugely influential in my life. All these joke songs. So,
did Greg Kinn pass away? I don't
know.
I guess so. But Greg Kinn, that was a great song. That was a great one hit. It was I know I hate to use one hit wonder because these are our artists that bled for these songs. There are some artists that get into the Music Factory, the Disney princess type music factories. But this week, okay, that's sad. That was a great song. That was a phenomenal song. I loved the video, the original video, and everything about that. That was great song.
Yep. I appreciate Craig bringing up Dr. Demento. Man, I used to listen to that all the time.
Yeah.
The Fools did this song called Psycho Chicken, which was a parody of the Talking Head Psycho Killer.
Yeah.
Psycho Chicken, qu'est-ce que c'est? And they go, cluck, 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 cluck. Awesome. I love Dr. Demento.
All right, so the song that I hate, if it comes on the radio and it's a very specific time of year,
yeah,
it is Christmas, and it's not the song that everyone's thinking of when I say Christmas song. I hate Christmas song. It's not Mariah Carey's song. It's not Wham. I actually like Wham's Last Christmas. That's not a bad song to me.
Mariah Carey's Christmas song is excellent too.
I mean, it's way too overplayed, and I do get annoyed at overplayed songs.
Yeah.
Santa Claus is Coming to Town by Bruce Springsteen.
Fair.
Stop that song. Absolutely horrid.
Santa Claus is coming to town.
He just mailed that in. Like, we're just going to do it. And for some reason, radio producers love that damn song. They play it way too much during the season.
I'll go out and say that there are some people who shouldn't make a Christmas album or shouldn't have made a Christmas album. Bob Dylan should not have made a Christmas album. I mean, he did.
Rusty and Slow Man.
Exactly. Bruce Springsteen shouldn't have made a Christmas album either. All right. Should we talk a little news, a little politics?
Yeah, we can talk a little politics. So
let's talk about what's happening at the DNC.
Yeah, Democrats.
You and I are going to protest. Actually, it would be a violation.
I'm not going to get anywhere near Chicago at this point.
It would be a violation of the Hatch Act for you to be there.
Yes, it would. So. Oh yeah, Jimi Hendrix is phenomenal. So the Democratic Convention opens up tomorrow. I guess they did some preliminary stuff today, but tomorrow night is Joe Biden kind of symbolically passing the torch. Although they've done like 3 other events where he's passed the torch. She has to have the torch by now, okay?
Yeah, exactly.
So Kamala is going to be there tomorrow. Then she's going to step away from Chicago while they do their thing. Of course, Tim Walz is going to get get his night to introduce himself more to the American people. And then Thursday night will be Harris's speech.
One of the epiphanies I had this morning. So I had breakfast this morning with a friend of mine who is a Republican from Massachusetts. And, as Keith Olbermann said, a Massachusetts Republican is the equivalent of a gay communist from Alabama. But we were talking about the DNC coming up, and I had this epiphany. How fortunate is it for the Democrats that they had that debate, the Biden-Trump debate, so long ago? Because if it were after the convention, they couldn't change it. They couldn't drop them out or anything like that. And
I think they could have still done something like that. I think Biden could have said, for health reasons, stepping aside, and Harris would have been elevated, and they'd be able to replace them. But
after the convention, all that stuff,
it makes it a lot harder.
Exactly. There are definitely laws around that.
Yeah.
Now, what is going to be interesting about it is that, now there's all this reporting coming out about for those of us who are sort of in the political, I did indeed buy Tom. It's a good point. There's a picture of us having breakfast on my Facebook page for those of you who follow it. But talking about, the convention coming up, I think we're going to go back and we're going to look at like the pathology of how did we happen to have a debate so early in the season? And that's great. It helped the Democrats because it gave you just push everybody off. But I think that there's a question that they're sitting on, which is how long did they know? Because there's a lot of coverage coming out now about stories going back over a year where people said, oh, I had this meeting with Joe Biden and he was senile. He was incompetent. He forgot what we were talking about. He couldn't remember my name. At times we were confused about where we were, stuff like that. All these things. And so then the question becomes, why is he still president? I mean, if it's really that bad, what's going on?
I don't have problems with asking that question because, truthfully, I mean, if he's that bad that he had to step aside, the thing is, I don't think he thinks that he's that bad. There have been stories that say that he's still rather salty about being pushed out.
I went to the rally at Prince George's Community College on Tuesday. And it was Kamala and Joe Biden.
Yeah.
And I went there for, I think a lot of or for me talking about it. We have a video, I have a company called Real Report, and we have a video product that we guarantee if you see a video inside of Real Report that it's real. It was shot in this place at this time, was not AI generated or anything like that. And so I wanted to shoot a picture from inside a Kamala rally to say, this is a real thing. It wasn't AI changed or anything like that.
Yeah.
So I went there. Joe walked frailly, but he spoke pretty well. Now, he's on a teleprompter, and on NPR, they talked about the fact that, when Obama was president, they did town halls almost every week where he would go out and he would take questions and stuff like that. And they did not do that. Joe Biden has never done that. Okay. And they've known for a long time, Joe's not going to be able to do well in a scenario like that. And every time he did an interview, they had, established what the questions were going to be, all that other stuff. And so the Democrats have known for a long time how incapacitated he was.
Yeah.
And
I think he's like many older people, have a good day, have a bad day, have a good day, have a bad day. It's not consistent.
Right.
So he may get up there and give a phenomenal speech tomorrow night. He may get up there and just crap the bed tomorrow night. And we'll all understand, okay, it was great that he stepped aside.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't mind asking that question is, why did you, first off, I think it was the Trump campaign that suggested the debate in June.
I think so too.
Which is
ironic.
Unforced error.
Yeah.
An absolute unforced error because, if the race was still Trump versus Biden, I do think that Project 2025 would have been something that kind of narrows things, but I don't think that it would have been enough to put Joe Biden over the top.
No.
The momentum is on Harris's side. She's got the convention. If the convention goes off without a hitch, if the convention doesn't turn into 1968 Chicago,
right, exactly.
Then we're not. But she's going to get a decent bump out of that. I think she's going to pull more states into a competitive territory.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because there's definitely there's going to be protesters there. I think we've all been reading about, Iran has put a lot of money into paying protesters to be there to try to influence them.
I don't think that I wouldn't put it past the Trump campaign to have protesters there to agitate.
I would agree with you. I don't know what the Trump guys would talk about. I know what the Iranian guys are going to talk about. But it's interesting.
It's agitating.
Yeah, you're right. Exactly.
Trying to persuade people into doing something.
Right. What is it going to end up with? They're having this thing where, like they did at the first debate, when Nick Sarwark and I had to stay in the freedom cage, which was, a mile away from where the debate was being held.
Yeah.
So they're doing the same thing in Chicago. Protesters are not going to get anywhere near the convention.
They're not going to get near the convention, but still, if it descends into violence, It doesn't matter how far away it is. It's still going to look awful. Like, yeah, you're not going to have like 68 where there's, Dan Rather's getting thrown to the floor of the convention hall, but you're, tear gas and police officers beating people with clubs
exactly. 68 is long hairs getting their heads cracked by police skulls. I don't think it's going to be anything like that, but we'll see. There's definitely incentive to try to counter things. The Trump people have done so poorly over the last month that I don't know that they're going to try to be able to do anything well.
So I posted this question on Facebook this week. What if JD Vance, we've heard JD Vance's comments about Trump in the past, but what if JD Vance was positioned as the never Trump sleeper agent to basically take down Trump? Because everything since JD Vance was named the vice presidential pick has been an absolute disaster for the Trump campaign, just day after day.
It's the same way that Donald Trump was the only Hillary super sleeper agent, and he was supposed to run to be so terrible that it guaranteed that Hillary would win the general election. Yeah. And it just so happened that it didn't work out that way.
Maybe the Lincoln Project has, got JD Vance to come in and
it is
hamper the campaign. Because remember, when he got picked, Trump was up in all these states. Kamala had not got in the race, and I will put a lot of the momentum is more on Kamala. But JD Vance's statements have done the campaign no favor at all.
But it's not, I'll push back again about that a little bit, and that I don't think that it's pro Kamala. It is that Joe Biden was so terrible. Joe Biden was an anchor around the entire Democratic Party, and he was pulling everything down. And Donald Trump has had the good fortune in his this is the third consecutive election that he's run for president in. And all those times, he has had the good fortune to run against terrible candidates. Kamala is the first non-terrible candidate. I mean, obviously, she's terrible in our eyes politically and stuff like that, but she's not terrible politically.
Well, we've spent the last year just going, God, please don't give us Biden versus Trump again. God, don't give us, please. And we've said it over and over again. And all of a sudden, we don't have Biden versus Trump. And I think a lot of people have just said, oh, thank God there's somebody different.
Exactly.
And I think a lot of that momentum has come from that relief that we're not going to have, an octogenarian in the White House.
Right.
That one is either a fascist dictator, one whose mind is going rapidly. I think people have just gotten relief that, okay, I'll be okay. I have told myself this, I think I'll be okay suffering through 4 years of Kamala Harris as president, but because I think it gets us past the.
Oh yeah. No, totally. I can totally do that. I am starting to root for the Republicans to take the House.
Keep the House.
Well, right. Sorry, to hold the House and lose the Senate, but I don't know if that's going to happen. I honestly think that the Senate is far more able for the Republicans to capture. Yeah.
Because they right now it's a very narrow choice, and there are far more Republicans running than there are the former Democrats running.
Right.
They're already going to lose one seat.
Seats.
Yeah, they're going to lose one seat to in West Virginia.
West Virginia, yeah. And then, I mean, what's interesting about it is, the other states, what had people had
Craig,
thought.
I'm a diet guy too.
What people had thought was toss up. Now Arizona is a leading Democrat, a few other states, but I still think the Republicans are going to take the Senate, which is going to be interesting because, what are they going to do? Harris Here's the interesting thing, right? You say 4 years of Harris, but the incumbent rarely loses in
Sure.
American politics. So we're probably talking about 8 years of Harris, which means she's very likely to replace Clarence Thomas, Alito, and
Or stack the court.
you know,
If let's say Trump absolutely shits the bed,
yeah,
and he drags the Republicans down with him, you know, and states that are safe, like Ted Cruz in Texas, and some of these other ones that could, you know, that could move.
because
she gets the Senate and a House. That, you know, that's why I don't like. You know, with her economic comments today or this week,
so crazy. Why? I mean, all she has to do is just shut up, dumb. And she'll win.
Yeah, don't be dumb. Don't do the dumb thing. And she did the dumb thing this week with her economic thing.
Yeah, it was crazy.
But yeah, I think there is a chance that Trump's on tilt. Like he's not handling the fact that he's losing right now well. And you know, he's going to do some counter programming at this convention this week, and you know, he'll be able to try and get some of his message out there. But I think, you know, if she gets the, you know, normal convention bounce, we're going to start seeing more states in play. That's really going to start messing with his mind, I think. And I think he, you know, I do think that there are some, you know, some things going on with him that he needs to, that should be called out. Absolutely should be called out.
And what's interesting is that he has been, he's been pretty rambling himself.
Oh yeah,
a month or so.
He mentally off roads all the time.
Yeah, which is pretty crazy, and I think people are going to start calling that out too, and that's going to be interesting. And wouldn't that be crazy to see them replace Trump? But of course, Trump would never agree to that.
No, Trump would never agree to that, and we're rapidly getting to the point where it becomes a legal issue with some of these states, the ballot access and everything. Like I think states can replace candidates, but I think there's a time limit before the election because you got to print ballots. You got to program ballots into the computers or print them if you're doing paper ballots. So yeah. All right, man. So, ready for the quiz?
I'm ready for the quiz. The last thing I'll say though is that you're right. Ted Cruz is not as safe as people think he is.
Oh no, not at all.
The last good poll, the last not-for-profit poll was July 1st, and it had all red 44, Cruz 47.
Yeah.
So who knows? I was there.
Right. Looks like a virus of some sort, bad cells or something. I don't know.
Yep.
I don't know what that is. And then Biden.
Wood. And that's.
You said
Grumpy Joe, Sleepy Joe.
Sleepy Joe. All right, question number one. The Paris Olympic Games are over, but the 2028 Olympics are already taking shape. In which city? Atlanta, Berlin, Los Angeles, or Rome?
City of Angels.
It is the Los Angeles. Remember, you can give us your answers in the chat, and we'll post them up.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one's easy. Los Angeles is going to be hosting the 2028 Olympics. No word on whether breakdance is going to be.
Oh my God! But
you know, I don't know what they did France. Like, it would have made more sense to do Los Angeles as where they did the breakdancing one.
Well, have you followed the story of this Australian breakdance?
Yeah, Rachel Reagan.
Oh my God, that's the best. For people who don't know, she was not a breakdancer, but she managed to convince the Australian government that she could represent them in breakdancing. And so they paid for her ticket there and her lodgings. And then you can watch her performance. And boy, it's just hilarious.
AJ was on her cell phone, and I think her cell phone either died or fried out. I don't know. I hope she's okay. We love you, AJ.
Right. And AJ, we did get to misrepresent your number one song. So
yeah, AJ, if you're out there, post your number one song.
All right, what's the next question?
All right, question number 2. Which hurricane knocked out power to half Puerto Rico this week? Eli, Ernesto, Earl, or Ezra?
I know this.
I know this one.
Let's see if Janice gets it. Let's see who's the first person to come in with it right.
Janice got the first one as well.
We're liking, guys.
So Ken. Right on. Right arm.
Right on. Right on, right on.
Word to your mother.
All right. I know it begins with E.
It does begin with E.
Enrique is not an option, but that's a good guess. But it is a polysyllabic Spanish name. It's Ernesto.
It is Ernesto. Ernesto actually just went over Bermuda and is back in a hurricane strength, heading northeast. So
yeah, we're going to get a little rain out of it.
Yeah. The East Coast, be careful if you're at the beach on the East Coast because much heavier tides and rip currents. So be careful if you're on the beach.
Yeah, but I mean, it is far away from us, but there'll be some effect.
Question number 3: which university announced its president will step down months after the student-led demonstrations rocked the campus? Columbia, Harvard, Princeton, or Cornell?
My hint to everybody, I assume you know this.
I do, yes.
My hint to everybody is Gem of the Ocean. Is that a good hint? Maybe not.
Maybe the Lions of New York.
Can you answer Tom's question? Rocker who died this week?
Greg Kihn.
It was Greg Kihn. Good job. You were the first person I knew to talk about it. Ken's got it right.
Ken got it.
It is Columbia.
Columbia,
Gem of the Ocean.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was.
She had to go.
No control over the population there. I mean, and you know, a lot of it was non-students taking part and being on campus and creating a kind of really a bad environment there. So,
right.
Question number 4: which virus was declared a global health emergency this week? Mpox, measles, RSV, or COVID-19?
I'll give you another hint. 2 months ago, it wasn't called this name. It has a different name than it did 2 months ago.
Ken got it.
Ken got it. It is the monkeypox.
World Health Organization Wednesday declared ongoing Mpox outbreak in Africa global health emergency. So, yeah, Mpox is coming back. There was towards the end of the bad COVID, there was a large outbreak of monkeypox or Mpox that that hit especially the LGBTQ community. In fact, I think if you are, I think anybody can go to your local health departments and still get vaccinated for Mpox to protect you against that. And if you should do that, if you can do that, do it. So
right.
Question number 5: which company announced it has hired its 4th CEO in just 2 years? Apple, Starbucks, McDonald's, or Walmart?
Named after a character in Moby Dick. People know this. What's interesting about it is that this guy was the CEO of Chipotle before this.
Right.
And one of the things that they, I can't tell this joke until somebody gets the answer right. So we're waiting on you guys to type it in.
I can't remember.
I don't think so. Are you saying Ray Liotta died from monkeypox? I don't know. I hadn't heard that. I just watched Goodfellas again yesterday.
God, I love that movie.
It's pretty good. The fact that they use the other part from Layla is awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Dr. Moulton's got it right. It is Starbucks. And, one of the things about it is a very interesting analysis of how people, coffees now are something like $8 at Starbucks. And so the guy from Chipotle came in, it says Chipotle CEO, and one of the first things he suggested was to put the coffee inside of a wrap and wrap it up and serve it like a burrito. And so it'll be interesting to see how that goes.
A soup sandwich, essentially.
Exactly.
All right, question number 6. President Joe Biden made it a major funding announcement this week as part of an effort to advance which cause? Animal welfare, infrastructure rebuilding, space exploration, or cancer research?
Well, it's a well-known fact that Democrats hate animals. So I'm just kidding. I'm making that up. But I actually don't know this one, but I have a guess. Do you know this one?
I would guess cancer research because of Beau Biden.
Maybe. And, they did make, Ken also thinks cancer research. And they did make a big drug announcement at the thing that I went to about how they were going to, use price control to force pharmaceutical companies to drop their prices as well. Which is interesting. That makes more sense than food because government is so involved in the pharmaceutical research. It's all built off of government, the largest of government.
Yeah.
If there were no patents, we wouldn't have to worry about prices. But I agree. Let's go with Ken and cancer research. Yep. Nice job,
right.
Ken.
$150 million
Janice got it
awards. So
Yep.
For 8 organizations seeking to advance cancer studies. Cancer Moonshot Program. Interesting. All right.
We're there. It's pretty close.
I think so as well. And good riddance.
Yeah.
Question number 7. Which NFL team became the first franchise to be valued at over $10 billion? The Bears, the Cowboys, the Patriots, or the Giants? Probably not the Giants because they suck.
Yeah. But, I mean, it is. So it's an interesting thing, too. I think to be valued that high, and I'll tell you why it's not the Bears. Because the Bears don't own their stadium. They're one of a very few number of franchises that don't own their own stadium. And so
That's the only correct answer. Correct.
Value. I'm pretty sure it's the Cowboys.
Yeah, I think so with Jerry World and
exactly. And just America's team and that sort of thing. It
so
wouldn't shock me if they were the Patriots.
Valued.
Well, it wouldn't shock me if it were the Patriots. By all accounts, the 2 best businessmen in the league are Robert Kraft and Jerry Jones. Jerry really revolutionized marketing. He made a deal with Reebok. He made his own deal with Pepsi, stuff like that.
Yeah.
$140 million to $10 billion. So that's 100 times profit, roughly speaking.
But he's never going to sell it. Like there's no.
No. Yeah. Definitely won't sell it. But I mean, you say that, but somebody just sold another pro football team. It was pretty shocking to me. It was a family. You never know when you just say, you know what? Maybe we want $10 billion.
He will never sell it. I think.
He'll never sell it.
Right. Once it gets to the next generation, that's always when they start talking about.
He's Skeletor already.
A's are third. White Sox are a close second. No.
Yeah.
No. Jerry Reinsdorf has run the White Sox into the ground. A's, we'll see a large rise in their fortune whenever they get their new stadium. My guess is it's going to end up being in Salt Lake rather than Vegas, but that's where I think the A's end up. Question number 8. Why did authorities order evacuations this week near the Greek capital of Athens? Wildfires, floods, landslides, or tornadoes? I know this one.
I know this one as well. There's a song about it. Even though flooding is happening all over the world.
See if anybody gets it.
I think, it's. So I went to Athens. It was pistachio shortage is a good call, Tom.
That would,
one of the best things that you can do in Athens is to get roasted pistachios on the street. Cheap and delicious.
Oh my God!
Favorite thing that we did though was there's a spot where you can climb up on top of another peak to take a picture of the Parthenon. It's like the classic picture.
Yeah.
And it's granite. The rock is pink granite, and it's worn smooth by the fact that people have been walking up it for 2,000 years to get the best view of the Parthenon. Ken got it again. Ken is on fire today. Dum-dum. Shh.
Yeah, fast spreading wildfire has been hitting the Greek capital area. I think that's the second year in a row they've had the bad wildfires. Now, Southern Europe
will tell you it's
summer is impressively hot, so it's not a surprise that there are fire dangers in Southern Europe.
Yeah, there's a climate component there for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Question number 9: which singer recently criticized former President Donald Trump's campaign for its unauthorized use of her music? Shania Twain, Celine Dion, Cher, or Mariah Carey?
This is very interesting. I heard that the Chicks just also sent a cease and desist order.
Ken's saying Celine Dion.
Ken's been on fire. I think we should go with Celine Dion.
John's heart will not go on. Oh yeah, they're using her. My heart will go on. Why?
Why? I don't get that.
Why? That's an odd song.
Yeah. Now, I mean, the interesting thing about it, of course, is that it's not really a Celine Dion song, but she has the most famous recording.
It alludes to because this was part of the Titanic soundtrack.
Right. Exactly.
Which is kind of on brand for what's going on with the campaign right now.
Exactly.
So, I mean,
that's crazy.
All right. Question number 10. Which international airport unveiled a new main terminal that will feature appearances by therapy llamas?
I would have bet money.
Portland, Denver, Seattle, or San Francisco?
I would have bet money it was going to be Lima.
Yeah. This reminds me of the end of the
Machu Picchu.
The beginning of the Monty Python and the Holy Grail movie.
Right. Or there's a great South Park episode as well with llamas and pan flute players. Tom pulling out that Northwestern airline experience to name very remote airports.
Tuliak. Did I get that right?
I think so. I have no idea on this one.
I don't either. But
hard to guess. Goofy and llamas. I would guess Seattle, but I have no idea. Portland. It could be Portland. Portland, India.
Portland or San Francisco. I mean, San Francisco. I think you would probably get some pushback on
Yeah, there's too much business going on in San Francisco airport. Northwestern. Who did you fly for, Tom? What did I say? I thought he flew for Northwestern.
Spirit or Frontier?
No. It's an old airline.
Although here's Spirit. Oh, Janice says
Portland. I like that too.
Yeah. Sometimes you just got to wait until somebody says. Let's see. Yes, Portland International Airport. Oh, that's what the wood thing that we were saying. Portland International Airport reopened a main terminal on Wednesday that is inspired by nature and feature appearances by therapy llamas and alpacas.
Interesting.
I mean, but I was reading a story about Southwest Airlines having all kinds of issues and how Spirit and Frontier, two yikes airlines, I'll just put it that way, are picking up a lot of Southwest business.
Interesting.
I mean, good luck with you if you're going to do Spirit or Frontier, spelled TEAR, because they're sketch.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting, these bargain planes. I would say I've flown Spirit and Frontier a fair bit recently.
I've flown Frontier. I haven't done Spirit yet.
I mean, they call it that because that's what they suck out of you when you fly. But Actually, both situations worked perfectly for me. Now, here's my advantage.
10 out of
I
10.
am literate, right? So I knew what I was getting into. I didn't show up with a lot of bags and expect to be able to get onto the plane. I also did pay for early boarding in both cases because everything else was so cheap.
Yeah, I mean,
Northwest Airlines, is that what I'm getting wrong here, Tom? What was the one with the drunken pilots? I don't know what I'm missing here. Northwest Airlines, not Northwestern. Okay. All I know is that the pilots drank a lot before they flew.
why not?
Yeah, I mean,
It's hard to drink. Hard to drink with the controls. You got to drink
exactly.
before you fly.
No point in drinking while you're flying. It's open container law.
Exactly. But no, I've flown Frontier, and I think they've gotten better as far as their pricing versus somebody like a Southwest. Because Southwest, unless you're flying with a crap ton of bags, but Southwest does have some advantages in not charging you for your bags, but their prices have gone way up.
Yeah.
Frontier, yeah, if you're willing to fly kind of Spartan,
yeah,
Frontier can be a pretty good deal. The problem is Frontier cancels a lot of goddamn flights.
they do cancel a surprising amount of flights, and they fly on weird days. So, like, there's a lot of times that I want to take Frontier, but like they don't fly back on Tuesday. I don't even get it. Spirit, let's give a shout out to our friend Martha Bueno's husband is a pilot for Spirit, and Vince, thank you for making sure that the things go safely and stuff like that. Obviously have a very high quality professional staff there.
Yeah, I mean, we can complain about airlines all we want. What happened in Brazil last week, notwithstanding, airline travel is still massively safe.
There's a great thing
convenient as fuck, but it's safe.
With the Super 8 Max, right, having to be recalled. But, American flight crews were flying those planes, and they didn't have a problem. Now, of course, they'd had much more rigorous training,
sure,
stuff like that. And so I'm not saying that it was pilot error, but it was something that required excellent pilots to not blow up on. So, yeah, the American aviation system, as much as people complain about it, there is a lot of professionalism there. Although there's another thing too, that professionalism is being pushed against profits and being pushed against capacity. The last time I flew, I talked about this, I think, on the air. Last time I flew through Charlotte, I couldn't believe how terrible it was. They didn't, both going through, and it was Charlotte on the way to Barbados. Both on the way there and on the way back, we got stuck because they didn't have enough gates for all the flights that were coming in. And that's just ridiculous.
Yeah. There is an airport that I will refuse to fly into unless it's the only option now, is Dallas Fort Worth. I hate that damn airport because you essentially land in Austin and drive up to Dallas Fort Worth. Like that's how long you spend taxiing at that airport, and it's just ridiculous. Like I landed one time. There was an hour till my flight. Landed and got off my plane with 18 minutes left before my flight. By that time, I was already late. I had to rebook. It's just absolutely ridiculous how long it takes you to taxi at Dallas Fort Worth.
Yeah. I mean, it is still physically the biggest airport.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's massive. All right. Well, I think
we're good.
For the listeners, you guys have done it again. You've wasted another 90 minutes with us. Click like, subscribe, all the things you can do to indicate that you like us. And if you're watching on YouTube, give us the thumbs up as well, and hit the bell so you'll be reminded when a show of ours goes on the air. Things like that help us to get a little more visibility.
And thanks for all the comments. Comments also help. Clicking the bell.
Comments help a ton. It makes it
following and sharing the videos as well too.
Right. It makes it a lot more fun for us.
Yeah.
Except for you Sharon, don't come back anymore. I'm just kidding.
Who was Sharon?
I had to think really hard of a name of somebody who I think has never commented on any of our things. Anyway. All right. Well,
yeah, thanks, Ken. Thanks, Tom. Thanks, Carol. Thanks, Janice and Craig.
The YouTube address is at Papaduke. Papaduke. At Papaduke. And we'll type it into the chat right now.
There we go.
Yep. All right. Thanks, guys. Say good night, Gracie.
Thank you so much. Good night, Gracie. Guten Abend, Gracie. We'll see you all next week on the Political Deep Dive. If it will ever go off.
Yes.